Well, somebody had some guts after all. Who'd have thunk it? Not me. That's for fucking sure. How about you, Lucille? Huh? How you feeling? The fuck did... Oh, well, she was laying in her bed, but I guess she departed the scene. Anyways, yeah, as you can see, I'm still, like, attached to this thing. It's just, it looks so fucking cool. And I'm just like a fucking child on his birthday. Like, holy shit, I've got the real deal. Not the literal real deal. I mean, it's not real barbed wire, obviously, but, you know, it's some kind of rubbery shit, but I like it. I really do. I left a link in that one video that I made the other night in regards to the atheist gamer, but that's kind of irrelevant here. But I'm going to leave a link down below to, you know, if you want to buy this sucker right here, leave a link down below so that you guys can buy it for yourselves if you're, you know, into Lucille and you're a big fan of Negan like I am. But anyways, got into this review. I will say that minus the Tara episode, this is nothing against Tara. I do like Tara as a character. I just wasn't big into the whole fucking... I don't know. That episode just didn't jive well with me. And it had nothing to do with the fact that... That was just a very awkward episode, I guess. It just didn't fit in to the whole thing. But I'm assuming that settlement will play a bigger role later on down the line, or at least a role later on down the line, given how this mid-season finale ended and given where everything is going in terms of how the comics boil down, if you will. So, this season to me has been a lot of good episodes that just don't mesh well together. It's like taking a bunch of gold stars from different things, putting them together and saying, hey, look what I made. It's like, yeah, those are gold stars for different things that have nothing to do with each other. That's kind of how I feel about the season. And I mean, I don't have any, well, minus Carol. Well, yeah, minus Carol, actually. Carol's the only one I really have a complaint about because there are certain characters that needed to be shitbags because that's kind of their role. And, you know, as much as I love Negan, he's a shitbag. He really fucking is. He is a douchebag and an asshole. Fuck me, I love him for it. Because that's how Negan is. That's just how he is. And in a way, I'm kind of a douchebag and an asshole myself. I really admit that shit. But, you know, it's like, I like Negan as a villain. I really do. The governor, comic governor was kind of He was there. He did his thing and he was brutal and blah, blah, blah. But I felt like the TV show governor had a bit more depth to him, which I appreciated a little bit more because I felt like the show writers were doing a bit more with the character than what the comic did. The comic made him an easily despisable character, and they did do kind of like a whole prequel thing as to why he was a shitbag, but it still didn't really merit why this guy was so fucking deranged. All shit will get, if you will. Basically, comic governor, he was a shitty guy, he was an asshole, he was a fucking psychopath, but I don't know. I mean, again, I'm more of a fan of Negan as a villain. I think Negan as a villain works better than the governor. I feel like the governor's more of like a experiment, if you will. But to highlight some like top players for me, like, you know, characters that really just they jived well with me. One, or in no particular order. I'm gonna say no particular order. Daryl, namely towards the latter end, but because also the fact that he endured all the torture and shit. Well, saliva bubble there. I'm not gonna say Rick. Carl's actually in my shit list because, like, I get that Carl is a teenager in terms of the show continuity, but in the comics, he was an 11-year-old kid, therefore, he did make some dumb dick decisions, irregardless of his age. He made some dumb fucking decisions, which didn't really bite him in the ass that much, and didn't really bite Rick in the ass that much, but still, he made some dumbass decisions that just made tensions a little bit higher. Up to the mid-season finale, I would say Rosita was an MVP. Like she's the one up there because of reasons. But she was kind of the MVP up to the mid-season finale, in which she completely fell apart and just made some very bad fucking decisions. Granted, I know she was emotionally distressed. She wasn't really thinking things through. And Gabriel kind of hinted at that, like, hey, wait for that moment. And, when the moment that she perceived came through, she acted on it, and unfortunately, some things happened. Now, up to this point, it's going to be spoiler free, but I'll let you guys know when I get into the more spoilery type shit. Who else do I consider an MVP? Morgan, for saving Carol and getting her back on her feet. I like the dude they cast as Ezekiel. Holy shit, he nailed that fucking role. He has nailed it. Well, I mean, he was in it for one episode, but he did what he needed to do in that one episode to make me feel like, yes, this is Ezekiel. This is how he should be. This is exactly how he should be. And going back to the other MVPs, Maggie. Maggie has been a serious MVP. Her, Jesus, and Sasha are like, they're just a really good. I'm trying to think of a word because, I don't know. Is it really spoilery to say this about Jesus? Nah, it really isn't. But anyways, he's gay. He is gay. I'm just trying to think of a word that depicts, two women and a guy that are interested in guys. Fucking hell. I can't think of a name. I would say sisterhood, but he's still a guy, so therefore it would still be like brother Jesus. I don't know. But those three, either regardless of what we're gonna fucking call them, those three work together well, and I love the fucking mesh they have together. I really do. Let's see what else. What else? Oh, Aaron in the mid-season finale. Aaron really pulled through at the end there. Because when him and Rick were about to sail off to basically Gun Isle, Rick was like, if you want to back out, I completely understand. And Aaron's like, I'm going to pretend you didn't just say that shit to me. And then he proceeds to break a sign, create two battles, and said, hey, let's get the fuck out of here. Or, let's get the fuck out of here. Let's get this shit on the roll. The roll? God damn, I can't fucking speak right now. And I blame you. Don't you dare look at me in that tone of voice again. I see it. Yeah, you're edging towards me. You're like, bitch, I'm going to get in your face. Yeah, I can get in your face too. What? I'm gonna feel at the end of the day. I can already tell. You know what? Once I end this video, it's gonna be donk. No, actually, she'll want this on camera. But anyways, to get back on point. See. Anyways, to get back on the point that I was trying to get across, Aaron breaks the sign, creates two paddles, and they paddle across. And he's like, you tell me that again, I'm gonna kick your ass. Essentially, it's kind of what he was saying. But Aaron's just saying, you know what? I'm going to pull my weight. I don't blame you for all the shit and all the tragedies that have come our way. I support you in everything that you do. So Rick and Aaron have this bonding moment where they work well as a team. I will say that. I did really like Aaron for at least this particular episode. And even season-wise, I feel like he's kind of grown a bit. He's evolved into himself a bit. And as much as Yuji didn't do shit, except, bawl his eyes out, I feel like Eugene manned the fuck up in the mid-season finale because I fucking hell. I can't really get into the spoilers with this shit, but, alright, so here's your 5-second fucking spoiler warning because I need to have a spoiler warning. And I want to wrap this shit up before I hit the 20-minute mark at the very least. Because I want to keep this a short to-the-point review. So, your spoiler-free review is, in a nutshell, episodes individually were good. They just didn't flow well together. The mid-season finale was okay. It wasn't the best in the world, but it was okay. It was acceptable and all the other good shit. And there were some certain characters that, did well for me. There were certain characters that didn't do well for me. Spencer. But that's besides the point. Anyways, your spoiler-free warning is over in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right, this is spoiler central right now. So if you haven't watched the mid-season finale, if you're not caught up on The Walking Dead, get the fuck off this video because I'm going to spoil this shit and not apologize for it. Anyways, so in terms of the premiere I've already talked about, so I won't get into that. But going from post-premiere forward, again, the show felt very disjointed in terms of where it placed its episodes, if you will. But the second to last episode and the mid-season finale, they flowed into each other because they kind of set each other up. Like, the second to last episode kind of set the scene up. And then once that all came together, the mid-season finale was set up, if you will. And they followed the comic almost to a verbatim point. Well, they actually combined two different scenarios into one. And I was okay with that. I was actually okay with that completely. I feel like early on, for the next half of the season 7, we're going to see the point where Negan and Rick literally butt heads and just collide, and everything just completely falls into chaos there, which should make season 8 fucking exciting. Really fucking exciting, because you're going to have the Saviors colliding with the communities. But anyways, in terms of the mid-season finale itself, it was a good episode. I mean, I initially didn't like it, but once I rewatched it and watched some other people react to it, I was like, you know what, this was actually a pretty solid episode for a mid-season finale, because it wasn't meant to define the season itself. It was meant to set up for later events, and it did do that in a very fucking well-done way. And, barring all criticisms of a certain individual, I don't know if this is actually pointing to who is on the upper side of the screen, but you know what? Fuck you. But anyways, essentially, Negan comes in, he brings Carl home, they have some fucking pasta and some rolls. And it's awkward as fucking shit. But you know what? I was still laughing my ass off. But Rick and Spencer are doing their thing. Rick and Spencer? As if. Rick and Aaron are doing their thing while all this is going on. We do touch up on Carol and Morgan, which I was like, oh, wow, yeah, we haven't seen you guys since fucking, episode 2? So anyways, that was the thing. And from there, we also get introduced to, in the beginning it was Maggie. She was kind of keeping watch, and then Gregory does his fucking Gregory shit. Somebody calls about, like, dude, she's pregnant because he had an apple, and she asked him, like, hey, you gonna eat that? And he said, yeah, I am. Dude's like, hey, dude, she's pregnant. Like, give her the fucking food because she's got a baby in her tummy. And Greg is like, ah, god damn it, and, tosses it to her. But I'm not really going to give you guys like a full-blown synopsis. I'm just going to touch on the big highlights. And the big highlights are, well, there's 2 of them, really. And the first being guts. And who had them and who didn't have them. Spencer didn't fucking have... he did actually have guts. They were inside him the whole fucking time. So I thought that bit was good. Jeffrey D. Morgan and I forget the name of the actor that played Spencer. They both were the MVPs in this episode in terms of performance. In terms of character, I would say it was Aaron, Negan, and Daryl. Those 2 were like the really big names that I would drop right now. Rosita, on the other hand, oh boy. I knew something was going to happen. I just didn't think it would go down the way that it did. And as much as we're not really meant to care about this character, I was kind of fucking sad that Olivia died. So to give you guys a summary, what happens is Negan kills Spitzer. He stabs him, and then he like rips open his guts and says, "Well, holy shit, I'm embarrassed. Your guts were there the whole fucking time. They were just inside of you. I've never been more wrong in my life." Than he kind of taunts him. He's like, "So, anybody want to finish the game? Anybody? Oh, somebody clean this mess up." But anyways, that happens, and then Rosita pulls a gun, shoots, and unfortunately for her, she ends up hitting Lucille, and Negan loses his shit. And then Arat, I believe her name is, tackles Rosita to the ground, and Negan, is like, "All right." So he picks up the ball. He's like, "Oh, I see this is homemade. Who made it?" Rosita said, "I made it." And Negan's like, "You're lying. You are lying." And it gets to a point where Negan's like, "All right, if you're going to keep lying to me, Arat, kill somebody." And so Arat pulls out a gun and shoots Olivia. And I know we're not really meant to care too terribly much for Olivia, but I was like, God damn, that was like, I felt bad for Olivia because I like the actress that plays her so much. I don't know why. I think it has a lot to do with the fact that when Negan first rolled through, it took her hostage. But he said, "I will kill her if you don't find these two other guns." Okay. Second time he rolls through, he gives her the whole like, "Oh, by literally, you mean not really?" Basically gives her a fat joke. He also gave her a fat joke after she had died, which I was like, God damn, dude, you're a fucking douche waffle. And I love you for it, but damn, that was fucked up. So, on top of that, it's like, she just, I felt like she grew as a character that they just killed her off. And I was like, really? Really? That was your pick, really? But, yeah, well. So Rick comes in and he's like, "I thought we had an agreement." Negan explains everything that happened. Like, your kid here, he machine gunned a good chunk of my guys, and you know what? I brought him home safe and sound. And I fed him spaghetti. Now, this one right here, she tried to kill me, but she ended up shooting Lucille. So I had to take one mouth away from you guys, which, by the way, that mouth was probably doing some serious fucking damage. And then he proceeds to leave with his earnings and blah, blah, blah. And Rick goes to the hilltop where he reunites with Maggie. Well, it's him, Rosita, Michonne, Carl. And I think that's it. Let's see. Rick, Carl, Michonne, Rosita. I think that's it. I think it's just those four. They go over there. If I'm missing somebody, please correct me. They find Maggie, and then she says they're like, "Hey, Jesus and Daryl, they're here." So they have a reunion, and I won't lie, I teared up a little bit when I saw Rick and Daryl just fucking like have this bromance hook. I was like, fucking hell, that is, god damn it, yes, that is good. I like that. And then Rosita and Sasha have like this awkward nod at each other, like, yeah, we both at least hate the same motherfucker that killed the man that we were, involved with. And then Enid and Carl have a little thing. But overall, as a season, it wasn't that good. Again, each individual episode was good. They just didn't flow into each other all that well, which is the problem I have with this season, if you will. Well, at least this half of the season. So I'm hoping it gets better, which I think it will, given where they're going towards in terms of the comics, which I've read up to the point where basically the whole thing with Negan, that happens, and then they move on to the next plot line. So in terms of the comics, I'm mostly caught up, but I'm keeping tabs on what's going on in said comics. Anyway, folks, I have a look up light. I will see you all next time for whatever video I upload next. Namely, probably the mid-season premiere. Damn it, I exceeded 20 goddamn minutes. I blame you for this. You are to blame. Why did you give me that look? I have somebody on speed dial. No. Oh,